Howdy, everybody, and welcome back to the Coaches from the Couch podcast. My name is Jacob. I'm here with Carson. I'm here with Jaden, and we're just three buds. We like to have fun. We play games, and we all around we just talk about sports. But sometimes we get a little carried away and go outside of the realm of sports.
Happens.
But at first today, we are going to start talking about sports, and we're going to talk about the Summer League first. So, Jaden, tell us about the Summer League.
Well, yeah, we had the highly anticipated Victor Wembanyama debut the other day. We had a sold-out Vegas arena. I think it was in Vegas, at least.
Yes.
And it didn't really live up to the hype. I think he shot like 2 for 13 or something like that.
9 points, like 9 rebounds.
Yeah, he kept getting ripped. But then a couple days later, he played another game, and he looked much better. So I don't really know how to kind of unpack that. I guess it's just going to take him a little bit to get used to the NBA. I mean, what is he, 18, 19 years old? So, yeah, I think the kid's still going to be a stud, no doubt, generational prospect. We'll just have to give him time.
I mean, I guess my analogy would be anybody that's watching this, us three, anybody. Let me do it. You could be an expert in any job. You could be a salesman. You could be a manufacturer, whatever job. I'm going to take you from one of your jobs and put you on another job. And that first day on that job, I want to see how you do. You know, you're still doing the same thing. You're still selling cars. You're still manufacturing AirPods, whatever you're doing. But it's your first day on that new job. You're not going to do very well. Your second and third day, you're going to get better, right? And that's kind of what happened for Victor, is just getting used to maybe the physicality, even of just the American players, and just getting used to it's a completely different brand of basketball in America compared to Europe. So that's just going to be it's an adjusting period for him, but I think he's going to be just fine, Carson.
Yeah, and then kind of like piggybacking off that, it's like it is a different style of basketball. Like, you know, overseas, he's not used to that 3 seconds. I mean, that's what everybody forgets about. Like, that's why like some NBA players are not capable. Like, that's why some college basketball players aren't able to be NBA players. Like Oscar Tshiebwe, Drew Timme. There was another big man. Oh, the dude from Arizona. Weird name.
Zach Edey.
Yeah, Zach
Edey.
And it's just like these guys. Yes, college basketball. You can still be a stud at 7'4", but it's different. You can't sit in the paint and contest shots,
right?
And because you will get 3-second calls. And I think Victor. What he has the advantage though, he is really athletic for his build. And he did display. He had 5 blocks in his first game. However, he had 9 points, 9 rebounds, like 5 blocks. So he did stand out on defense, but like he even said that though. He's like, I don't even know what I was doing out there.
Right.
He even said that. And
right.
It's like he will have a better performance game 2, and he did. He came out and responded. I don't think there was anybody questioning that he won't come out. I mean, I wasn't. I knew he'd come out. Yeah. I mean, it's first game jitters. I mean, I think that was just a fluke. I think
and the Britney Spears drama too.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of looming over his head. It happens.
Yeah, and then did you guys see in Vegas they actually have this like huge globe up there, and it is like it's a huge globe,
right.
And it is actually the coolest thing I've ever seen in Vegas. I don't know, it's like over, I think they said over $1 billion, and it's like a big digital dome.
I think it seats like 18,600 people. So I mean, it's big, and they're gonna have like concerts in there. They're gonna have performances in there. I think the first performance ever in there is gonna be U2. Imagine Baba O'Reilly. So yeah, they're gonna have a lot of cool performances in there, and no matter how much it costs, I'm sure they're gonna make their money back pretty quick.
I wonder if we'll start to see stadiums built like that in the future going forward. I mean, I know, yes, that's a lot of money, but you got to think sports are evolving. Like everything's just becoming more and more like expensive.
Right.
Look at all these new stadiums being built, and the NFL saying like they're like expensive. And I know like they're not up to $2.3 billion yet, but like I think we'll eventually get there. Obviously, like everything's going up in the world.
Well, I mean the Rams stadium, it costs way more than it costs like 4 or 5, just because they went like 400% over their budget.
Yeah.
But I feel like if it's in LA, if it's in Las Vegas, or if it's just even in the NFL,
like you don't think no small market teams you'll see.
Right. Like I don't think Milwaukee's building that. That's my point. I don't think Indianapolis. I don't think Indianapolis is building that.
Indy has a better chance than
Milwaukee, definitely, or like Cincinnati.
You gotta think. Look at places like Indy. Kind of has an advantage compared to most people because we hold the Combine, we hold Indy 5. Like we have a lot of people coming.
And we just and it's like an event city. Like
exactly.
a lot of conventions are in there too.
We have a lot of convention centers and stuff.
Right.
We have a lot of stuff coming in because we're in the middle of everything. But moving back to the Summer League, I want to talk about the Indiana Pacers. We are 2-0. So Good job, Pacers, even though it really don't matter.
Right.
But I don't know if you've seen our roster. Our roster is literally our roster. Like, we're all young.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But
it's like no Tyrese, no Buddy. But I mean...
Yeah,
like,
no Miles.
No Miles, obviously.
But
and sorry to cut you off. I'm sorry. Miles, my friend... Ooh, that outfit.
Yes, I saw that outfit.
I mean, I appreciate him expressing how he wants to dress, and that's okay, but ooh, that outfit. I don't know if I can't pull that outfit off. Let's just put it that way. Very, very pastel.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw Bruce Brown. He says he feels like home, which is good to be looking at as a Pacer fan. Same thing with Halliburton. Halliburton wants to lead this team. That's exciting. Another thing I want to talk about with the Pacers is like Ben Mathurin has been looking really good. Obviously, he looked really good last year as a rookie in the summer league, but he's looking even more like he's a next step player. He had a really good game. They had a close game with the Wizards, then they blew out. I believe I can't remember who they played yesterday, but they blew them out. It was over 20. Indiana Pacers. What do you guys think so far through game 2?
Definitely. Well, like yesterday, all their starters were in double digits, so that's awesome. Jarris Walker's been playing well defensively.
Defensively,
holy cow! That
offensively struggled a little bit, but
right.
I think defensively,
that's what we expected with him. I think.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, is there anything else you guys want to talk about the summer league?
Yeah, I think in my opinion, Ben Mathurin hasn't looked as good as I thought. I think he's been good, but just out of the other players I've seen, like Jabari Smith, he had a crazy game and a buzzer beater, and some of the other second-year players have looked a lot better than him, I think. And I'm just trying not to overreact to it, but I kind of expected him to play a little bit better.
Do you guys think he looks taller than he did last year?
So I didn't know that was actually a trend. That little, did you know that little 6'9", how he's 6'9"?
Yeah.
That's a trend.
No, I know. Oh, it's a trend?
Every team was posting like one
Yeah.
player from the
It's a
team.
trend. I didn't know that.
It got me because I heard he grew 3 inches over the offseason. I was like, Jesus,
I was actually working
business.
at a basketball camp, and I actually got told by the varsity coach that it actually was.
Huh.
It's a trend. I didn't know that. So I thought that was interesting. Because apparently every team was saying that. Every team had a player where, they grew 3 inches, 4 inches, a younger player.
Right.
Yeah, there was like a Shane Goon one, a Jalen Williams one.
Yeah, and then I see what you're saying. So I'm looking at his stats now. He averaged 20. He's averaging 22 points. Granted, he is shooting 35% from the field.
Yeah.
That is not very good at all.
At all.
So yeah, I get what you're saying. I think I've seen a lot of box scores. I haven't been able to watch. I watched the first game, which he did okay. But I think Ben Mathurin, he has shown out like it looks like he's trying to convert into that scoring role though. Like he's shooting quite a bit. Obviously with that group he has to.
Right.
So he's kind of like, here you go, you're the bucket scorer, go get it. And I think he's still trying to develop into that role.
Yeah, I'm hoping that jump shot at some point starts to translate because he has really nice form. He has a pretty jump shot, but it just hasn't been falling for him. So hopefully that comes along.
Yeah. So anything on NBA Summer League?
I guess I'm just kind of continuing like what I said last episode. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of where we're at on this. We'll
exactly.
catch box scores and when a player plays well, but we're really at an who cares about the NBA right now.
Exactly.
Get me a fantasy football, right?
Yeah.
Bingo.
And so so now that we're done with Summer League, I want to talk about a rumor, just one rumor.
Oh yeah, I like rumors.
Pascal Siakam, possibly an Indiana Pacer.
Yeah.
So little interesting as a Pacer fan. Going into that's who I wanted in free agency or a trade. Pascal Siakam. What do you guys think about if Pacers get Pascal Siakam? Where are the Pacers looking? And what do you think we'd have to give up? I'm just curious. I know, you guys might have to think about it a little bit.
Yeah.
I gotta think about it.
And I'll go ahead and talk about what you guys are thinking. I just think like Pascal Siakam, he brings like I think he brings that like he's won a championship before. I think he brings that championship mentality to a team that's not been there before, and or they've been there but it's been a while. And I think like bringing guys like Bruce Brown, I think they're looking like they're trying to be a win now team. And I just think Pascal Siakam would bring that, kind of give Jarris Walker. Like kind of follow him in his footsteps. I think Pascal could come in here, run the 4. I think he's fairly, and he's not old. He's fairly young.
He's like 28. I think.
And I think that's a perfect veteran for Jarris Walker to fall in behind. I think like if Jarris can turn into that type of player, I think we'd be very happy with that.
My thoughts are Pascal Siakam is probably the caliber player that is probably the best that Indiana could probably get. But that being said, I'm not the biggest Pascal fan. I think it would be a great move to, like you said, play Jarris behind him. I think he would fit our lineup pretty good. But I just think we would have to give up a lot probably to get him. And if that means sacrificing our depth a little bit too much, I wouldn't want to do it. So, yeah, that's my question. How much depth are we willing to give up from this team? How many picks? Because he's not too young. I think he's like 28, 29. So, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't mind it, though.
I definitely, I wouldn't mind it either, but I definitely think, like, Andrew Nimhard's going to be part of that trade, for sure. Like, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. Nimhard will be part of that trade.
See,
why wouldn't he be?
Yeah, I just want to hear. Keep going.
I think it's going to be definitely Nimhard. I'm scared Buddy Hield. But although, why would the Raptors want Buddy Hield? I don't know.
I
don't know exactly where he's at on his contract.
So my thing is, what I was personally thinking is, this is obviously from a Pacers perspective. Pascal's a pretty big contract, so I think that automatically marks Buddy Hield, Daniel Theis, or T.J. McConnell, and they have to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I was, from a Pacers perspective, I say give up both of those guys. You already have give up Theis and McConnell. McConnell's shown out like he's a very good quality backup point guard.
Right.
Quality. Daniel Theis, he's okay. But that's when you guys also give up Aaron Nesmith, very young player. He's shown some promise last year. Shot over 40% from three. I think Aaron Nesmith is the young guy you give, and then you go out and you give like 3 first-round picks for Pascal Siakam. I think you get rid of the contracts of Theis and McConnell, give him Aaron Nesmith as the young player, and give him 3 first-round picks. I think as a Pacer fan, getting Shepherd from Belmont, you got him in the first round. You got Jarris Walker in the first round. You got Ben Mathurin last year. You hit on Nimhard last year. I feel like you don't need, yes, it's always good to have draft picks, but I don't think you need the next 2 years. I really don't. So I'm thinking, go ahead and give up those next 3 years. Because we have such young players. I think that's what the Pacers.
I just think there's no way the Raptors accept it without Nimhard.
3 first-round picks.
I think Nimhard's going to have to be part of the deal.
It's a lot of people, though.
It is a lot of people, but Pascal, they don't have to give him up.
They don't have to, no, but I'm just wondering if they would offer that. And I wonder what it would look like on paper. Like if they say yay or nay.
If we get Pascal, say that trade goes through, where do you think we stand in the East?
I think you could...
I mean, we're not better than the Heat with Lillard. No, we're not. Don't think about that. We're not.
I mean, Halliburton's a different player this year.
Are we better than the Cavs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Easily.
I think so.
I mean,
not better than the Bucks.
I think we're easily top 4. Not easily, but I think we're top 4. I'm not gonna say easily. I mean, we'd have to play for it, but we'd be top 4 if we stay healthy.
Yeah. I mean, we're not gonna be better than the Bucks. I think we won't be better than the Heat.
The Celtics.
Not better than the Celtics. And then I think we give the Cavs the run for their money. I think top 4 is probably realistic.
Yeah, and realistic. And to be that, look at the Miami Heat. They made the play, or they went to the finals. And I can tell you right now, the Heat team that we saw, Indiana Pacers are better than that Heat team.
Yeah.
So anything's possible.
And that's now. Our team now is better than that Heat team that just went to the finals.
Right.
Yeah. So it's definitely you know what I mean? We have it. I think we have a chance. We have a chance. I think if we can get Pascal.
Right.
And so now, any more on NBA?
No.
So now I want to jump into Home Run Derby. So I don't know how much of it you guys watched. What did you guys think of Vlad winning the Home Run Derby? He won it last year too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think of him, a back-to-back champion?
I mean, yeah, the kid, he takes a lot after his father, I'll say that. They just have natural power. It looks so effortless whenever they swing, the ball just flies off the bat. It's just so impressive to me, especially how much fatigue that goes, if you've ever, we do home run derbies every now and then, and it is just tiring that you can barely walk the next day, and these guys just continue to jack them over the fence.
You gotta think, we'll hit 2 or 3 over 3, 15.
We pull every muscle on the side of our bodies.
And they're hitting 420 and they're hitting 40 of them. Some of them are. And it's just in 3 minutes, I think.
I don't remember.
I think it's 3 minutes. And it's just and possibly another minute on bonus time. Mm-hmm. It's over 440. It's my goodness, how are these guys hitting 40 home runs in 3 minutes? It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and then I think the darling of it was Adley Rutschman. He hit from the right hand side, or I'm sorry, he hit from the left hand side. Then in his bonus time, he turned around and hit from the right hand side. He hit like 7 home runs in a row from the right hand side. It's insane. With his dad pitching to him, which is pretty awesome. But here's my question for you guys: you're at the home run derby. Would you have your dad pitch to you? I'll let you think about it. Here's what I'd say. I'd be like, Dad, I love you, and this would be awesome, but for your sake, I'm not gonna have you embarrass yourself in front of millions of people, and for my sake, the $1 million and the free truck I'd get, I don't want you pitching to me. All right, I'll just take the bullpen coach, or I'll just take the
Depends how serious I'm taking it.
Right.
What caliber player am I? Am I Mike Trout? And
if you're gonna make multiple,
well, if you're Mike Trout, you're not even in it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying though, if you're like
you're Randy Arozarena.
I don't know how big his contract is, but like if I was a set in stone, like Adley Rutschman ain't making too much right now.
Right.
That's one of those like I don't know why.
Well, most guys in the MLB are making too much, like in that.
Yeah, but I think Rosarena has a decent sized contract.
Yeah.
But like Pete Alonso, he has a big contract.
Right.
Like those guys, I mean, it's more who was the guy a couple years ago? I forget who it was that actually pitched to him. It was his dad.
Bryce Harper.
Bryce Harper,
Yeah.
And he lost.
Yeah.
But it was close.
Right.
And he got mad at his dad.
Yeah, he got mad. But it's like one of those things. He probably knew going in, I'm already set. Let's just make this an experience.
Right. Well, then, some of the guys, maybe not their dads, but like some of their coaches, they were throwing like outside sinkers to him.
they're throwing breaking balls.
Mookie Betts. I don't know who pitched to him. It was horrible. It was terrible, and it's not as easy as it looks. But my goodness, it's easier than that.
What was cool about the Blue Jays? So the Blue Jays. Pitcher.
The manager.
It was the manager,
yeah.
And I thought that was fascinating. But last year, so they actually fired their manager last year, the Blue Jays did, and he actually was their bench coach, I believe. And he got elevated as so he was probably their hitting coach.
Yeah, that's true.
And their batting coach, or batting cage practice person.
Batting practice coach,
yeah.
pitcher, whatever.
Yeah, and
called,
he probably just he's still doing it as the manager. And I think that's pretty cool, because you don't see managers usually out there throwing BP.
Right. Well, also we don't talk about how those people that are pitching, we're judging them as professional athletes.
Yeah.
They probably haven't thrown BP and somebody's dad, like Rutschman's dad, he probably hasn't thrown BP in 20 years. He's going out there
and that makes me kind of think if it's my dad. Like some of these guys' dads, at least, were pretty good ball players.
Right.
Some of them played professional baseball, or maybe they're on a coaching staff for somebody else's team. I can tell you right now, my dad.
I know
he's an all right pitcher, but
my dad would be cussing me out from dipping my back.
Yeah, my dad would be hitting me.
Yeah, my dad would be too much coaching me.
Yeah, right. For sure. But and overall, it was a decent home run derby. It was the home run derby. And the dunk contest, they're kind of becoming maybe, I don't want to say watered down, but just not as must watch as they used to be.
What's actually crazy, I'm getting to the point now where I would almost take the home run derby over the dunk contest.
Oh, I easily would.
Yeah.
It's just the dunk contest. There's just so much you can't do.
Right.
At least home run derby, you can hit one over 500 feet, and that's different.
Yeah.
Cool. I think the balls hit different each time. I think the dunks are running out. I just think dunks are running out.
It's all been done.
And I guess I like how, in the home run derby, it's not subjective. It's objective, which means, it's factual if you hit a home run or not.
Yeah.
Right? In the dunk contest, it's subjective if, a 360 dunk that we see at least 5 times in-game every season is a 10 or not.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, and then, so I just have one more... I want to talk about one more thing about the home run... Or the All-Star weekend. So... All-Star games tonight, I believe. NL, AL. I don't know who's starting. I don't even know. I should know.
It's Garrett Cole versus maybe Strider.
Okay.
Spencer Strider.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I know Garrett Cole's on the mound for the.
Yeah, I saw the
know
Yankees.
that for sure.
I saw the.
Here, I can figure that out.
I think it's Strider. But anyway, so I just want to get you guys' input on who you think wins, and would you take the MLB All-Star game or the NBA All-Star game, and which one would you take? And I'll even go as far as the Pro Bowl, which Pro Bowl kind of sucks now because the flag football.
If you're taking the Pro Bowl, you probably have something wrong with you. Because the Pro Bowl has been trash for a while now, I think. But I'd have to go with the NBA just because I can't watch baseball really on it's the Reds are never on my TV, so I don't really care about baseball too much.
I'm trying to figure it out still. It wasn't on CBS Sports.
And I like how I think the NBA All-Star games have actually been a little bit improved since they put the charity on the line. They make them play for something. I think it's been a little bit better.
Zach Gallen.
Okay.
Zach Gallen's on the mound for the
Gotcha.
NL. So.
And
Yeah.
so what I want to hear your input.
For me, it's the NBA All-Star Game because just to put it in perspective, the over/under for runs tonight and the
7.5.
it's 7.5.
Yeah, 7.5.
So that's like 4-3. So it's just the NBA All-Star Game's sweet just because there's like half-court threes and also another thing about the NBA, the stars are bigger in the NBA. Like stars are more marketable and mean more. So that's why I'd go NBA All-Star Game.
Yeah, and then I think I'm the same way with you guys. I think NBA's better. But what actually made the NBA a little bit better too is like they're actually starting to play a little more since charities is on the line. And yeah, they still play a lackluster defense, but it's more than what they used to.
Yeah.
They had a bad span where it was terrible, but now they're actually starting to play defense because of charity, and they actually changed some of those rules. I don't know if you guys saw that, where the winning team actually gets like each player gets like a nice bonus. It's like 500,000.
Yeah, silver's great, I think.
Yeah.
And they also do a draft too. They draft the players
That's
I like
new.
that.
Yeah,
I like
that was new this year.
in real time, right before the game.
And then, but yeah, in the MLB, 7.5. I mean.
Now, the one cool thing about the old MLB All-Star Game, they actually changed this rule. Remember, it used to be if AL wins, they get home field advantage for the World Series.
Yeah.
In the old All-Star Game, if NL won, they get home field advantage, but they even changed that. So.
Yeah. I just think another thing about that is how it doesn't matter how good of a hitter you are, pitching always has the upper hand. It's so hard to get a hit.
Yeah.
It's so hard to get a hit, and it's just it's just so hard to get hit. Like Garrett Cole's gonna be dealing out there. Same thing with Gallen. I mean.
Pivoting kind of over to the college sports world, we have some big news from Northwestern. Pat Fitzgerald, I believe, is their coach.
Was their coach, yeah.
He was their coach, yeah. He's fired for hazing scandal, which shocked a lot of people because he seemed like a pretty, really kind of discipline-driven coach, and I don't know how much he had to do with the whole thing, but yeah, it's big news. What do you guys have to say about it?
Yeah, I just think that it's definitely shocking, like you said. The tough thing is, how can you be over-programmed for like 15 plus years and not know these things? Especially if like allegedly there was a whiteboard right in the middle of the locker room, and like he'd like give up hand signals to like people that need to be run, is what they called it. Do you guys know what happened like with the running? Mm-hmm. So basically seniors would take it was hazing, and seniors would take underclassmen. When they got in trouble, and they turned the lights off and put like scream masks on and dry hump them.
Oh my!
And they called that running. Yeah. So that was the hazing allegations, and there was some allegations of like racism. Like they said that like white players could have like long hair and have whatever haircut they wanted, but like they'd make black people shave their braids and shave their cornrows and the dreads off. So.
That's terrible.
I think it's hard for me to believe that he did not know about these things.
Yeah.
Really hard for me to. And I think that's probably in turn why he got fired.
Yeah.
Right, by the administration, they probably found out.
Yeah.
And
then so I don't know much about the situation. I just know I did get an alert about it. Defense coordinator is supposed to be named the head coach for Northwestern. So his name is David Braun. So.
Oh, he is one of the best 4-3 hybrids.
Exactly. So we'll see.
They are always a good.
We'll
defense.
see how he can turn that mess into a successful program. Hopefully.
Right. Well, also like the thing about like a Northwestern coach getting fired, like if they could have a bad culture, obviously they did, and that's one reason to fire him. But also like they just are never a good team. Like he should have been fired 10 years ago just off performance.
Exactly.
Like anytime there's a Northwestern game on like Fox, nobody's excited about that.
It's just like you're just wasting another game.
Exactly. Nobody is dying to watch Northwestern versus Minnesota. Believe it or not. So yeah, it's definitely a terrible situation, but it's one that I think that we can learn a lot about, and we hope nothing like this ever happens again.
Exactly.
Exactly. And then also, just kind of in the college football realm, because we were just catching up. I mean, college football starts in what, 2 months? A month?
It's less than 50 days.
Less than 50 days. College football, it's creeping up on us. So, let's talk about the two big gets, the two big quarterbacks in the college football this year. First off, Jaden, I know he's like one of your favorite players in the league.
Cut you off real quick. First college football game is August 26th.
August 26th, so a little bit over a month away.
7 games in week 0 is his first
Yep, a little bit over a month away. So, first off, Caleb Williams, Jaden. I know you love Caleb Williams. So, what do you think Who do you think's better, Drake May or Caleb Williams? First things first. And the next thing, what do you expect out of him? Do you expect another Heisman season out of him, or do you expect a dip off from last year?
I expect another Heisman season from Caleb Williams, and I think both of them, Drake May and Caleb Williams, are prospects that would have went number 1 overall in this year's draft if they were eligible.
Besides Anthony Richardson?
No.
Oh.
Definitely not.
He
But
didn't go 1, did he?
No.
But I do think Caleb Williams has the edge over Drake May right now. I think just the overall prospect, arm talent, mobility, and I'd say Drake May is actually even more mobile, but we've seen a little bit more arm talent, I think, from Caleb Williams. I mean, he won the Heisman, so the resume speaks for itself. But I do think there's a possibility that Drake May could maybe pass him. He's an elite talent as well. Who knows?
Yeah, and all I got to say about it is I pretty much think, whoever probably goes further, in the NCAA, bracket or however, whatever it's called, I think whoever goes further in that, and also probably who has the Heisman, I think that's obviously plays a huge factor on who's the one pick. Yes, they usually go based on traits as well, but I think since those two are so neck and neck, I think you'll see stats and accolades. I think you'll see who will get the number 1 pick.
Yeah, for me, I think it depends on who's gonna act, because they're both great players. Who's gonna act dumber, right? And I have my bets on Caleb Williams doing more dumb things.
We've already seen some antics
right,
from him.
like the F Utah and just all those crazy things. Like who's gonna do more of those things this year? I think that those, when it comes down to, it's a good thing for the number 1 pick in the draft to be choosing between, nitpicking everything. But I think that's the reality. I don't love Lincoln Riley quarterbacks. I think they never end up that well, character-wise. But who knows? Maybe Caleb Williams is different.
The thing is, Caleb Williams is he's a different caliber. I think he's
I don't know.
level.
Kyler Murray. Remember Kyler Murray at Oklahoma in college?
I think he's different than Kyler, though.
You think?
I mean, they're two different types of quarterbacks.
And Baker Mayfield? Holy cow.
Baker was very good in college, but once again, different type of quarterback.
Yeah, definitely different type of quarterback, but we've already seen the same personality things that we've seen out of both of those.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
Who knows? But we'll just have to wait and see. I'm sure we'll get to talk about it so many more times during this year. Kind of moving on. This is more of a personal thing for us. We're going to talk about college basketball a little bit. University of Kentucky plays in Saturday, right?
It's a week.
So just a few days from now. So, what do you guys? So who do they play first?
I think it's Germany.
Germany.
We got Germany, Canada.
I know they play Team Africa. Or Nigeria, whatever. Yeah. It's a good team. That African team's a good team. So
I think first is Germany, though.
So just now that we're in July, what are the reports out of Kentucky's camp? What do you guys think about Kentucky? And then are you excited for the season? I'll let either one of you go.
Well, I saw Antonio Reeves was really surprised by how good the young guys are looking.
Right.
From what I've heard, he's been really surprised by how good they look this early on with the team. I mean, they just got there a couple weeks ago or whatever, and he said they look ready to play. So I hope that's true. And yeah, I think we're set to be pretty good. I like the pickups that we've got pretty recently. Getting Reeves back was obviously huge. Trey Mitchell from West Virginia and some others. Yeah, I think there's a lot of freshmen, though, so I think there's definitely going to be some growing pains, but this is a very, very talented team, probably as talented as any Kentucky team, really.
Yeah, and then so I did confirm it. Germany, we played Germany July 12th at 1:30. Canada, we played Canada July 13th at 8 p.m. July 15th, we play Africa 1:30, and then to be determined July 16th. So, kind of now talking about Kentucky, schedule and stuff, and what I think of them, what they're looking like going forward. I think the schedule, it looks pretty reasonable for us. I think this year, we have our tough games. Cal's kind of moving to more tougher schedule. He has the past couple of years. I think it's good for Kentucky. I think it's good for them to get right in the tournament, and also helps the players that want to go to the next level face some better competition, especially earlier in the year. But this team, I think they have they have at least, now we don't have 7 players. We have more than 7 players. I think we have enough to where we can play 10 guys if we wanted to. Will we play 10 guys? Most likely not. We haven't done that since 2015. So we'll probably lose some people, most likely to transfers at the end of the year. because we have now we have too many players. But I think this Kentucky roster has a lot of potential. I'm not going to say that they're going to the championship. I'm not saying they're going to Final Four. Because I've said that before and it doesn't pan out. But yes, this might be the best guard play we've ever had out of a recruiting class. I'm not going to say that this is going to be the best guard we've ever had, but out of a recruiting class, this is probably the best guards Kentucky history has ever had.
Yeah, so then talking about related to Kentucky, so they're Kentucky fans. I'm a Louisville fan, and one thing that I figured out about Kenny Payne. So moving on to Louisville, one thing I figured out about Kenny Payne, he likes to hold his cards tight to his body. He does not show much at all. So the reason I say that is because he was actually just on a podcast. I think it's called College Basketball Today with John Rothstein. And it was the first time I've heard him in like months talk. And I could hear some of the Kentucky rubbing off on him because he was like, I would rather prefer to build my teams from the ground up with younger guys rather than the transfer portal. So I love that, but that also scares me just because like I feel like you need to adapt, you have to. But I think just as far, I'm excited about the season. He was talking about some of the impact players that we got in the transfer portal. And I think that anything more than 4 wins, I'm happy with. I'm just kidding. I think if we don't go above 500, I'm on the fire Kenny Payne train. So we're a different roster. We're a completely different roster. No more excuses.
And you say what you want. ACC's down.
Yeah, it is down for sure.
That's what I'm saying. So like you should be.
Duke's good. North Carolina, they're not Roy Williams. North Carolina. Virginia, they'll always be there. But other than that, Boeheim's out. Virginia Tech's not great.
I mean, ACC's pretty bad.
It is.
We haven't seen that. We haven't seen ACC. This
I mean, who
bad
are the past? So we have Duke, obviously. They're
UNC
probably
still.
Yeah, UNC still, Virginia, and then Miami. Those are the 4.
Which Miami lost a lot of players.
Yeah, but they
still have their coach.
Yeah,
and I know Georgia Tech lost their coach.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not very good. Virginia Tech's okay.
Right.
But Notre Dame, they lost their. Is already returned.
No, he
because he was going back and forth.
Right. It was
but ACC is down. Watch it be one of those things that would surprise us. Watch.
Right. Of course.
But yeah, I mean, Louisville they should easily be an over 500 team.
Yeah, they better be an over 500 team.
And
I think
possibly a tournament team.
Kenny Payne's probably fired if they're not over 500. I'm confident in saying that.
Really?
I'm pretty confident in saying he's probably fired if they're not over 500.
How deflating would that be? Because it kind of seems like you've had kind of a revolving door at head coach the past few years as a Louisville fan, from David Padgett or whatever.
Yeah,
to Chris Mack and.
Yeah,
a lot of guys.
It would. I mean, it would hurt a lot to have to get rid of Kenny Payne, but man, he's to be quite frank with you, he's driving me crazy. He's not acting like a coach should act now. Like he always comes through the back door. Like I said, he doesn't communicate with the fans, and that's okay. You don't have to. But then also, like, a lot of the things he says about like how he wouldn't do anything different last season, and like he was talking on the podcast, he's like, I gave those guys my all last year, kind of like blaming them for everything. It just. He's driving me crazy right now. Like, be a leader, accept a little responsibility, whatever. We all know it's not your fault that you had a terrible roster, but accept a little responsibility.
Was he smiling saying it, though?
Oh, I'm sure he was. It was a non-video podcast. He always has a little smile on his face.
He loves that smile.
But yeah, over 500. If we're not over 500, get him out of here.
I can sense you're a little bit impatient.
I'm not impatient. I think it's time. Like I just don't.
And then that's kind of like, so now jump back to Kentucky. Like you're talking about head coach. Like that's why I'm kind of like, everybody's like, you guys need to get rid of Cal. You need to get rid of Cal. I don't want to be in that market. Right. I mean, it's a tough market. I know. Like yes, Cal. I want to say Cal might not be the best coach.
Right.
But the thing is though, Kentucky's in the tournament more often than not. Right. So it could be worse.
You know what else is hard?
What?
Winning the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
That's also a hard
and he's
thing.
done it at Kentucky.
Exactly.
So I think I think Kentucky fans need to stop freaking out.
Right.
If we have a bad year, it happens.
Right.
Injuries happen. Chemistry sometimes doesn't come out like it's supposed to. I think it's going to be okay.
I'm honestly the opposite on Cal. I'm mad that they haven't built a statue for him yet. Like the things he's done at Kentucky, he should have a statue built for him.
Oh, that's where I stand.
I think it's going to come.
It will, but like I'm just saying, rather than getting fired, they need to get renovations on a statue built.
That or some type of name. Not Rapparino.
Oh, they need to rename.
They definitely.
Yeah, well, but the thing is, it's just like, obviously there's Rupp, but like I feel like it's just so iconic. The name. The name.
No, you're right. You're
but
right.
yeah.
It just. And imagine if John Calipari's out on the coaching market. How quick do you think he's going to be out there? A week? A week before Texas comes to get him? Or
I
somebody?
can tell you right now. If John Calipari goes on the market, he's already going somewhere.
Yeah.
He's already has a deal.
He knows his next job.
He already knows his next job if he leaves. So if that does happen,
But I don't think I don't think that's ever. I don't think John Calipari.
Cal is at home. He loves
He'll never get
Kentucky,
fired.
and he's already said
He's
that.
best friends with Lil Wayne.
Exactly.
Bro. Lil Wayne loves Kentucky.
I mean, he was spitting. Did you see that he was spitting? He was spitting bars in a press conference.
Hell yeah.
I mean, by Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
Let's go.
But yeah, I don't think Calipari ever has to worry about going anywhere.
Yeah, if you're an anti-Cal guy, you tell me who we're going to get that's going to be better than him.
You won't.
Right.
You
And
won't.
you
luck finding
could
a guy.
even dream up you could dream up guys that like Scott Drew. You could say Scott Drew, for example, from Baylor. I don't think Scott Drew's ever leaving Baylor.
Yeah, he
Well,
wouldn't come
and the
to
thing
Kentucky.
is about Scott Drew is yes, he's a very, he's probably top 5 coach.
Right.
But the thing is though, Kentucky's different.
Yeah.
Than Baylor. Baylor, he has to actually nitpick on who he can get, who he can get his style. Kentucky, he can get anybody. So it's so I want the top guy. But the thing is, it doesn't fit his style, so it can mess with a lot of things.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I think when you're at Kentucky, you have a lot more boosters you have to answer to. Just a lot more other things. But and then another thing for Scott Drew, I want to watch you build something for 20 years, and then somebody tell you, somebody tell you need to leave for this job.
Yeah.
If I build something, I want to stick with it.
Exactly.
That's my thing.
And another thing about Cal, too, is you were talking about how Kenny Payne wasn't showing accountability, wasn't taking responsibility for the team's failures. Calipari does that all the time. He'll
Right.
frequently say, I didn't have my guys ready. It was my fault. Don't blame these kids. And
Yeah.
I've always loved that about Calipari.
And that's why he's a Hall of Fame coach.
Exactly.
Definitely. That brings us to today's game, where we are going to be guessing, or they are going to be guessing,
We are.
NFL players college. Where did NFL players go to college? We got 10 today. The format's going to be 2 receivers, a running back, quarterback, tight end. So that's 5, and we got 2 sets of 5. So, ready to get into it.
Let's do it.
Let's get it.
First player, Deebo Samuel.
This is where they went to college, right?
Yep.
Uh-oh. Are you in trouble, dude? You're in trouble, aren't you?
Yeah, it caught me off guard. I know this too.
Right. You're gonna be so sad, dude.
This is just a random guess. I know this ain't right. Yeah, this is just a random guess. Miami.
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
I knew that.
Next one is DJ Moore.
Now I'm in trouble.
I know this one. I think.
I don't know. Texas?
Auburn.
Maryland.
Maryland.
Oh, I thought I knew that one.
Well, we talked about that in a previous episode.
Yeah, I think it was last episode.
It
Yeah.
was.
Dang it.
Next one is Denver Broncos running back Javonte Williams.
UNC.
UNC.
You're both correct. UNC.
Coached by Roy Williams.
Um,
Hubert Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Next one is quarterback Kirk Cousins. Captain
Kirk
Kirk.
Chains. Kirk Chains.
I have no idea. He seems like he'd be this type of guy.
Oh, this school definitely fits him.
Oh, yeah.
Stanford.
That's a good guess.
That's
Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Well, he just seems like he'd be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Coached by Tom Izzo.
Mm-hmm.
Now for our tight end, Mark Andrews.
He played college with somebody that I know, like quarterback. Mississippi State.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Coached by Porter Moser.
Sooner. All right, now we got our second batch of 5 starting receivers. Devontae Adams.
Dude, I'm sorry. I'm sorry it's gonna be like this for you.
I think I know this one. Is it Fresno State?
Yeah, Fresno
Both
State.
correct, Fresno
Does
State.
he play with Derek Carr?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what gave that one away. I wouldn't have got it if I didn't know that.
This one's a little harder. Tyler Boyd.
I don't think I know.
Is
But
it Pitt?
I put
It is
TCU.
He went to Pitt.
Pitt.
You liked that, didn't you?
Coached by Jamie Dixon.
Mm-hmm. No, hey, that's TCU.
Pitt before TCU.
That's
That's actually
true.
crazy, I guess, TCU.
Yeah.
'Cause Jamie Dixon was at Pitt.
Our running back for this one is Isaiah Pacheco.
Uh-oh.
I'm in trouble now.
Tables have turned.
They have turned. I don't know. South Carolina State.
Rutgers.
Rutgers. Rutgers, they don't even have a football team.
Isaiah
Did he play
Pacheco's
club
on.
football?
Mm-hmm. Rec.
Stupid.
He played recreational.
Next one, Daniel Jones. Danny Dimes.
It's old
This coach is Mike
Coach K.
Krzyzewski.
Coach K.
Mm-hmm.
Duke.
Went to Duke. The Blue Devil.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got? You have 4
4.
now? That's what I have. You like that?
Well, yeah, I didn't know freaking Pacheco. Rutgers
is it
has
tied
been-
up?
Yeah, it's tied.
4.
All notched up at 4. We got one last one.
Oh, no.
David Njoku.
Oh, dude. Oh, man.
Do you know it?
Aw. Aw. I know it. I think. Maybe I'm getting a little less confident. Yeah, I think I know it.
Miami.
Miami. Good guess, dude.
Up the use.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Good guess.
So do we need a tiebreaker?
Let's do a
We
tiebreaker.
need tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker.
You'll think of that on your head, won't you?
I'm sure I
Mhm.
have something.
Well, I guess in the meantime, Carson, why don't you tell us about talk to us about politics?
Yeah, I mean, so,
That's not good. I have one.
Uh-oh.
Ramondre Stevenson.
Uh-oh.
what, do you know this?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Ramondre Stevenson.
This is pure guess.
Same.
Hang on, I'm not ready. Pure guess. I'm not even gonna write it down. Illinois.
Texas.
Oklahoma. So that means another tiebreaker.
Yep.
Yeah, we have to have a winner, guys.
We do have to have a winner.
Can we get another one?
So what do you think, Carson?
So pretty much, I mean, I can't wait. I just can't wait. I
You can't wait?
Can't wait for politics.
You can't?
Can't wait for it.
That'll be next episode, guys.
Yeah.
What about Pat
Next game
Fryermuth?
segment.
Pat Fryermuth.
Do you know it?
So this is a guess. But,
Oh, I know it. I know it. Penn State.
Pitt.
Penn State.
Hell yeah.
Joe
Joe knew.
takes it.
Hashtag Joe knew.
That's freaking stupid.
You may have noticed we are wearing some different clothes. That's because we had a few technical difficulties, so we are coming back and we're doing this the next day. But nonetheless, we're going to be getting into the AFC South. This division hits home for these two guys. They're both Colts fans. But first up is the Texans. What do you guys have to say about the Texans?
You can go ahead.
So I like how the Texans have improved on offense. I think that they brought in a lot of good pieces. I almost kind of equate them to maybe the Jaguars last year and 2 years ago. I don't know if C.J. Stroud to me is necessarily Trevor Lawrence in that echelon, but he's a talented young quarterback, obviously. And I really like the moves that they made to bring in some talented skill players. They locked up Laramie Tunsil, who's one of the best tackles in the league. But I just think that all in all, they've made some pretty good moves to at least be way more competitive than they've been in the past. They've always kind of had. I mean, they're on their third coach in 3 years, which is always a tough thing. But I really think that C.J. Stroud has a chance to be a great quarterback. He had Georgia down to a missed field goal away from beating them. in the college football semifinals last year. So I think all in all, a much improved Texans team and a much more competitive one than the 1-2-3 win Texans teams we've seen in the past.
Yeah, and I totally agree. Obviously, they made some pretty good moves in the offseason, obviously with the draft and free agency. Getting anytime you can get 2 generational talents at one or at the 4 and what was it, 3 and 4, right? 3 and 4 pick.
2 and 3.
2 and 3 pick, and I think obviously those are both generational players on both sides of the ball is huge. And then you get a really good. I think he has a really good chance to be a really good coach in D'Amico Ryans. But they bring in they get John Michie back too as well, coming back from cancer. I think he can show out this year with C.J. Stroud. I think he could be a really good player. And then they brought in Robert Woods for that veteran leadership. Like you said, bring in Laramie Tunsil back, Shaq Mason. They signed him. Dalton Schultz, I think, is a big player for them. Yeah. Nice security blanket. And then they bring in Singletary with Damian Pierce. So offensively, I think they're looking pretty good. Defensively, they brought in a lot of pieces from free agency. He wanted to get his defense the way he wants, kind of like what he did at the 49ers. He brought in a lot of veterans. Sheldon Rankins, Malik Collins, Greenyard, Denzel Perriman, Littleton, Steven Nelson, Jimmy Ward from the 49ers, and they also returned Petrie and Stingley Jr. I think this team has a chance to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, one thing that I hate that they did, I think D'Amico Ryans is going to be a good coach, but I think in today's NFL, I always disagree with bringing in a defensive coach just because you bring in a defensive coach. Let's say your offensive coordinator has one good season, he's a head coach the next season. That's just how it goes, I think D'Amico has a shot to be a good coach, but it always stinks when you never know when your offensive coordinator could leave the very next season.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that there's only one defensive coach that I think can make it, and that is
Belichick.
Bill Belichick.
And Vrabel.
It just never works out. There's a big difference.
What's crazy, Braves has played tight end though too, so he
Right.
knows both sides of the ball.
Right.
And but yeah, I think that we can narrow that down to about 3 coaches.
Right, Vrabel, Belichick.
And there's probably another one out there
Yeah,
that
there
we're not thinking of.
Yeah, there's some phenomenal defensive coordinators, say
McDermott.
like Dan Quinn,
Oh yeah.
McDermott, yep.
people that are very good defensive coaches, but then you ask them to take control of the whole team, and they're just not quite as good because they can't just specialize.
Well, yeah, especially looking at all the new coaches, like all the younger, like the most iconic was Sean McVay. He was so young when he got that job. Next thing you know, he's an offensive-minded guy, and then next thing you know, he shined, and then he kind of started that trend of young coaches, I think, and I mean, ever since then, it's pretty been much.
It's been all of Sean McVay's offensive guys and all of Kyle Shanahan's offensive guys. Those
and
are the
they
two.
actually started together.
Exactly.
And at Washington, so.
Yeah.
But we don't want to speak too soon, though. He hasn't actually coached yet, so we'll see what he has. I personally really like Damian Pierce. I think he's one of the most explosive runners, break tackle running backs in the NFL. And the one thing he wasn't good at in pass blocking, they bring in Devin Singletary to do that for him, I think. So yeah, I think they're taking a big step forward this year. Whether they're good or not, I think they're headed in the right direction.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yep.
Ready to talk the Colts?
Let's do it.
It's Colts next. Let's do it.
So for the Colts, offensively, they obviously, or first off, they have a new head coach, similarly to the Texans. I think this time they went with offensive coach, which I agree with. And they're compared to the Texans, the Colts issue, it wasn't a talent issue. They've always been a talented team on paper, but it was a culture issue. There were some rumors of people showing up late to team meetings, which doesn't happen in the NFL. Obviously, a player that likely bet on his own team. We know he bet, and we know he's betting over/under for rushing yards. With last year's Colts team, why would you ever bet an over on rushing yards, right? So likely betting against his own team.
He did bet over?
No, that's not confirmed. I'm just trying to put two and
Hopefully
two
he
together. Right. Honestly, seriously.
I mean, it could save his career, honestly,
Exactly.
if he leaked that out.
I think his career's probably done anyways.
Yeah, but he could at least go play in the CFL or something.
Yeah, maybe. So definitely some culture issues there, but as far as offensively, so obviously they brought in Anthony Richardson. We'll see. Obviously, he's a freak athlete, but we'll see. The offensive line is really the same offensive line we've had in the past. The same offensive line that was best in the league 2 years ago, and the same offensive line that was worse in the league last year. So they're in an interesting circumstance there. But one thing that'll help them this year is with that Shane Steichen offense, the Colts are probably going to get the ball out a lot quicker. So that obviously helps any offensive line. I'm sure offensive linemen love it when the ball gets out quicker. And then tight end wise, it's still that basketball locker room there with Mo Alley Cox and who's the other guy?
Jelani
And
Woods.
he'll have it. I think he'll plan to have a good.
So
year
it's
this
still
year.
a basket. It's still a bunch of power forwards there, and then the receiving core. The receiving core is actually an improved one with first off Michael Pittman Jr. But then Alec Pierce. Those are kind of the other two basketball players outside. But then in the slot, Isaiah McKenzie, who's a very good player, and then also the exciting young rookie and Josh Downs. And finally, can't forget to mention Jonathan Taylor, when healthy, one of the best running backs in the league. So I think I look for the Colts, and maybe I have my rose-colored shades on, but I look for them to have a much better year offensively. I don't look for them to be the Chiefs, right? I don't look for them to throw the ball around the field like Patrick Mahomes does, but probably leaning into that like six-back offense. A lot of quarterback running, a lot of read options, a lot of get the ball out quickly, a lot of plays like that.
Yeah, and I think this team, like you were saying, is going to be a run-heavy team to start Anthony Richardson's young career. Because he's shown that he has an arm and he can pass. But his biggest flaw was accuracy a little bit. And so I think going into the year, you're going to see a lot of Philadelphia Eagles, Baltimore Ravens, old style, run the ball, options, short game, RPOs. I think you got to also look to see Zach Moss. I think he has a decent year this year because as much as we run, and I think we were going to run a lot, so I think you'll see Zach Moss a lot in the red zone to kind of relieve injuries on Jonathan Taylor. And then I wouldn't even rule out the question. Anthony Richardson still ain't the starter. I mean, Gardner Minshew, I think he could still come in here and be the Week 1 starter. I want it to be Richardson, but at the same time, I don't think we can rule out Gardner Minshew because he's done some good things.
Right.
And now I want to talk about the defense. The defense, obviously, we brought in Sampson from the 49ers, and I think with DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, and Kwity Paye all returning, I think we still are one of the top defensive lines in the NFL. Even though we did lose Unique, I think he is a great player who will go to a contender and be very good for them. We lost Bobby Okereke, but we did return Zaire Franklin, Shaq Leonard, and E.J. Speed. I think our linebacking core will be just fine because Zaire Franklin showed out last year. I think he'll step in that Bobby Okereke role, and I think we'll be just fine if Leonard can stay on the field. That's a big question. And then the big question mark about this team is the defensive backs. I think that is probably our biggest weakness right now. We have a lot of rookies there. We drafted 3 of them. Juju Brents, Jalen Jones, and Darius Rush. A lot of unexperience there. But I think with that good of a pass rush, those good linebackers, I think we can see hopefully some improvement from that, from those defensive backs throughout the year. But hopefully that pass rush can just help them out a lot and make them get the ball out quick and they can hold up.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they're definitely going to be a run-heavy team this year, especially since the defense really worries me. Losing Isaiah Rodgers definitely hurts when you were already that kind of thin at corner.
Well, it hurts.
So inexperienced.
I mean, kick
yeah.
return.
Right.
And I think that's why they're going to run a lot. I think they're going to try to control the clock, try to keep that defense off the field as much as possible. And I think that really is a good thing for what you want out of Anthony Richardson. He's the most athletic quarterback possibly of all time that we've ever seen. 99 grade on the raw athletic score. So I think that does 2 things, though. Having a guy like Anthony Richardson, whether he's good or not, he makes this team so much more efficient, in my opinion, just because of the threat that he is as an athlete. Can open up so much more of a running game for Jonathan Taylor because they're not all focused on him. They got to worry about this 6'4", 250 quarterback in the backfield. And also for Michael Pittman, I think he's a really good fit just because last year a lot of people are down on Michael Pittman because last year he was running a bunch of short routes with Matt Ryan because his arm was dead. I mean, he looked awful out there. But really, Michael Pittman, I think, is a deep threat receiver, contested catch kind of guy. And Anthony Richardson can throw him those deep balls and get him the ball in those deep targets, which I think will be really good for him.
Yeah, and then I want to say one more thing and I just want to touch on their special teams. Special teams, we get Rigoberto back. Our special teams was one of the worst in the league last year. We had to cut 2 kickers. Finally got Chase McLaughlin. Thought he was going to resign because he had a really good year with the Colts. He ends up going to Buccaneers. We bring in Matt Gay, pay the dude, and Rigoberto's back, so I think our special teams will be back up in the top 10.
Lost special teams coordinator, though. That hurts.
Bubba
Bubba
Ventrone.
Ventrone, yeah.
He went to the
Cleveland.
Browns. Yeah.
Yep.
But it is good to get the guys back, though, with Luke Rhodes, Matt Gay, and Rigoberto.
Yeah, I think, at the bottom line is just to temper expectations. I think I hope Anthony Richardson starts from week 1. You can't get better by sitting on the bench. And I think we're going to see some ugly picks. We're probably going to see some ugly fumbles. We're probably going to see some ugly plays. But I think we're also going to see flashes, and we're going to see a guy that gets better week by week. And hopefully he ends up being, the next Peyton Manning. Obviously not play style for us, but just production-wise for us.
Yeah, what I'm hoping is I'm hoping for like a Justin Fields. I know Justin Fields wasn't very good his rookie year, but like I think like we could see a little similar role like because he ran a lot his rookie year. But what's good to like be a Colts fan is like if we have a season like Justin Fields did his rookie year with Anthony Richardson, our team's way better than the Bears were.
Right.
So I mean, who knows what we can be at with our division? Our division ain't very good, so who knows where we sit at?
For sure.
Ready to get into the Jacksonville Jaguars?
As ready as I'll ever be. So the Jags, they're probably the favorite in the league this year, coming off just an absolute thrilling playoffs last year. Come back from what, 33-0?
Yeah.
33-0
It was a lot. A lot to a little.
A lot to a little to the Chargers. Came back there in the second half. And then obviously lose to the Chiefs, which who doesn't? Now I bet they didn't expect to lose by a Chad Henne-led Chiefs. Obviously Mahomes came back, but Chad Henne played a little bit in that. But this is a very talented roster with a very good head coach that's won a Super Bowl. Offensively, obviously Trevor Lawrence is there. ETN's going to be back, which is exciting for them. And then their wide receiving core is really good. They have
Ridley, Zay Jones, and Christian Kirk.
Right, yeah, a really good core. Christian Kirk had a great season last year.
And Jamal Agnew signed.
And Agnew, yeah. And then also their tight end, Evan Ingram. He had a good season last year, so look
basically
for him to
a wide receiver.
Yeah, honestly, he's a freak athlete. And then their line, they lost Cam Robinson, I know. Do they still have Sheriff?
That is probably their biggest question mark on their whole offense. Their O-line is, and I know a lot of football players, and I do not know many of these guys. They do have Brandon Sheriff.
Name them off.
They have Walker Little.
Okay, so he's like a third-year player, but
Ben Barch.
Yeah.
Luke Forner.
Yeah.
Brandon Sheriff and Antone Harrison. I think they drafted him.
Yeah, they drafted him.
He was my second best tackle in the draft.
So a lot of guys I don't know. So a lot of unexperienced, it sounds like. Because I think a lot of these guys are young. So I think that's the big question mark with their offense.
But this line wasn't good last year either. So it's not really a big difference in
But
my
I think
opinion.
they had Cam Robinson.
They did.
And
that's a cornerstone.
They didn't have Anton Harrison. I don't think Cam Robinson, me personally, I don't think he was that great. But
I would probably take an NFL veteran that's been there, done that, over a rookie, and with a guy like Trevor Lawrence.
The bottom line is whether their offense is humming or not. Look for it to get really loud if Trevor Lawrence starts to get hit a lot. Think about like Burrow like 3 years ago.
Burrow, Andrew Luck. Like, look at this.
Remember the noise that was coming when Burrow was getting hit, and they were like, they got to protect this guy. He's generational. Same with T-Law. Like if he doesn't get protected, it's gonna get really loud in Jacksonville.
Look at our defense, or look at the defenses in the division. I mean, you got Will Anderson. They got Jerry Hughes. I already forgot who we said in that team.
Mm-hmm.
But and then you got like the Colts, who have one of the best fronts.
Right.
Then you got the Tennessee Titans. They don't even have the best players, but Vrave somehow, Jeffrey Simmons and like Danico Autry and like all those guys, they still like find a way to be like one of the best pass rushers in the league. But yeah, I think you got to protect this dude in this division
For sure.
And then defensively, it is also a big question mark with that team. Yes, they have Josh Allen, Devin Lloyd, Tyson Campbell, Rayshon Jenkins, and they've signed Darius Williams and Trey Herndon. So like this team, their defense is a big question mark as well, which their defense wasn't very good last year. They had flashes, but they were one of the most given up points. They gave up a lot of points, but T-Law luckily scored 40 a game, so they were in a lot of games, a lot of high scoring games. I think you're going to see the same thing this year in a lot of opponents. And then they did sign a big free agent kicker though, Brandon McManus. So and they've had a big question mark at kicker for a while, so they kind of locked that up since Lambeau left.
Right.
Yeah, I really think they don't have too much to worry about, in my opinion, in this division, unless something crazy happens and one of these teams breaks out. But they should easily win the division. I think Calvin Ridley, I think he's still got it. Anytime we've seen him on the field, he's been an elite route runner. He's got a good quarterback throwing him the ball. I think it's just about what kind of step up are we going to see from Trevor Lawrence. Does he stay stagnant and kind of stay the same as he was last year, or does he take another leap and put himself in that same conversation with the elite quarterbacks in the league? But also Travon Walker, who was their number one overall pick in the draft last year, who they absolutely are betting on. He has a lot of elite athlete traits, big guy. So yeah, we're waiting to see if he can develop into not just a great run stopper, but a good edge rusher too. So yeah, I think they should have the division.
Okay, and then we're on to the Tennessee Titans, right?
Last team.
Okay, you want to go, Jake?
Yeah, so the Tennessee Titans, obviously Mike Vrabel led squad. This is the team with the coach with the longest tenure in the division. And there's a reason for that, right? Mike Vrabel's a rock. They always seem to get it done somehow, some way. I think 2 years ago when they had like 40 or 60 some odd players on their team and still were number one in the AFC. But offensively, you still have the main piece, right? Derrick Henry, he's the main guy. There were rumors that they would trade him, but they ended up keeping him. Quarterback, it's not really much of a question mark, but they did draft a guy, which always is a telltale sign that they're confident in a guy. But they have Ryan Tannehill there, maybe sort of coming to the end of his career. Will Levis is who they drafted, and then Malik Willis is still there as well. The only problem with Malik Willis is he was last administration's quarterback. So that's always not good if they draft one. So rumors are that they'll cut him, Malik Willis, and they'll keep two quarterbacks, Will Levis and Ryan Tannehill. And then what are they looking like a wide receiver?
So wide receiver, they got Treylon Burks. Obviously, I think he's
Right.
a dog. And then they got that Nick Westbrook-Hakeem, and which I think he's shown flashes of being good.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be in the wide receiver too. And then their third receiver is Kyle Phillips. So I think they're a little weak there.
Right.
I think they're probably.
They're not just little weak. They're a lot weak. That's probably
I
the
don't
worst
know.
receiving core in the
Yeah,
league.
no, they're probably one of the worst. But Treylon Burks, he hasn't shown, and Nick Westbrook has shown flashes. But Treylon Burks, I think he could possibly be the best best receiver in this division. Though I think he could turn out to be.
I would not go there yet.
No,
He
turn
could
out
be
to
maybe.
Yeah,
but
turn out to be. I'm not
definitely
saying right
not
now.
now.
Yeah, no.
But they have been in the Hopkins rumors though. I've seen, so
Yeah.
that's a possibility. That would be huge for them.
Yeah, and then offensive line, they signed Andre Dillard, but offensive line looked like they pretty much. It doesn't look like your Tennessee Titans offensive line. I know they got Peter Skornowski, whatever from
Skoronski.
yeah, from the draft. But so they got their tackles, but their middle's not looking very good. They lost Ben Jones, Taylor Lewan. They lost a lot of veterans in that line, and they also lost that dude from gambling, Pettit from Ohio State.
Oh yeah.
6 games, so that's another tackle they lost. They do bring back that Okonkwo from their tight end.
Chig, he's a really good athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Good after the catch guy.
Defensively, they still have Danico Autry, Jeffrey Simmons, Harold Landry. This Kevin Byard ran team. He's what runs the team. Sean Murphy Bunting as well. Anytime you keep your leaders on that defense, I think your defense still hums, and I think the Tennessee Titans defense will still be one of the best in the division somehow, some way, even though the players aren't what they're. I don't even know most of their players, but I think this defense will still probably be one of the best in the division, just because of Vrabes.
I find it hard to believe just how many people are kind of out on Derrick Henry. He was still 2 or 3 in the league in rushing last year. He was kind of aggravating. I know he fumbled. He got injured a little bit. And people are concerned with his age because usually it is once a running back turns 27, they start to fall off a cliff.
Right.
Because of kind of the workload over the years builds up and they just
But
fall
here's
off.
the thing, what if you are the cliff?
Well, yeah. Well, and he didn't get that many carries early on in his career either.
Right.
It kind of took him a couple years to break in to that offense, so he doesn't have as much load on his knees and everything as people think. And if there is a guy that could really break that hypothesis or whatever strategy that someone made up about the 27-year-old fall off, I think it would be him. He is a huge man, freak of nature. So yeah, I'm never going to bet against Derrick Henry. So now do we want to project the standings for this division?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Jake, you want to start?
Not really, but I can. I think the Jaguars will finish first. I think they're easily the most talented team in the division. But man, I worry about their offensive line. I worry so bad about their offensive line. But they're fine. They have Trevor Lawrence. They're fine. They're the most talented team. Now my hometown bias comes in. I actually think the Colts finish second. Now this is an under 500 second, right? So I don't think they finish a very good second. I think they're an 8-win football team. And then I think that third is going to be the Texans, and then I think 4 is the Titans. I worry so much about the Titans. I think that you were pointing out how you're not going to bet against Derrick Henry, and I'm not either. But man, it's hard when there's like 9 people in the box. It's so hard to get any yards.
So if you say the Colts are number 2 and you think that they're not going to have a winning record, so you think what's the Tennessee Titans record looking like?
I think they're a 4-win team.
So you think they're going to be drafted high?
I think so. And I think that they'd be ecstatic to be drafted.
Oh yeah, I think they'd
be ecstatic.
I think they need it.
But I think this is easily the Jags.
So you see like mid-season Will Levis coming in?
Yeah, I do, and I think he doesn't play that well, and I think they draft high, and I think they get their guy.
Oh, so you think they draft another quarterback next year, as of right now?
It depends on who it is, right?
Yeah.
If
and where they're at, exactly.
Yeah. If it's Joe Schmo, they're not going to do it. But if it's like one of those top 2 quarterbacks or top 3 quarterbacks, I think they do it. So Jags 1, Colts 2, Texans 3, and then Titans 4. And I also think this is the year for the Texans, where everybody's like, the Texans next year are going to be so good. Yeah. So I think this is that year where they show a lot of flashes.
Yeah.
And my standings, I'm also going to have the Jaguars in an easy first. But, man, this division is just nowhere close, in my opinion, to the previous 2 divisions that we've done. You have a lot of rookie quarterbacks, a lot of first-year head coaches. It very well could be a dumpster fire, but I'm having a tough time deciding on the Colts or the Titans at that 2 spot. I think I'm going to give the slight edge to the Titans just because of the head coaching experience there, but it very well could be the Colts. I'm going to have the Colts at 3, though, and I think the Texans, I have hopes for them that we could see some flashes for them, but I think it's going to be another rough year for them. I think they're going to be last with that new defensive head coach. Just, I don't know. Yeah, that's mine.
So what's your order again? Say it one more time.
Jaguars, Titans, Colts, Texans.
Okay. And then, so, I'm Mr. Loyal. Give me Indianapolis Colts going 1.
What do you think their record's going to be?
I think they'll win 10.
10 games?
I think they'll win 10.
And you think the Jaguars won't win 10 games?
Shane Steichen, he's all ball.
But I'm Colts aside. Let's talk about the Jaguars. You don't think the Jaguars will win 10 games?
So I think the Colts and Jags split.
Okay.
I think the Colts sweep the Texans. And I think the Colts split with the Titans. And then the rest of the schedule.
I think you're biased. That's what I think.
And I said I might be, but I mean.
Well, I think you are.
And I might be, but I'm going to say that Indy Colts are going to be number 1.
All right.
10-win team. I think you see the Jacksonville Jaguars 9-win team, 10-win, or they might be 10 too. But
you think Anthony Richardson comes in his first year in the NFL and wins 10 games?
I think
Anthony Richardson.
What I think is crazy though is like the way Shane Steichen runs an offense. I think it's going to be hard to like. We're going to be in a lot of games, and I think because we're going to hold the ball. We're going to be a team that holds the ball. We're going to be a team that goes all.
The only thing is, though.
So if you're a fantasy owner, I think this is what it's going to be. If you're a fantasy owner of a Colts player, they're going to do a lot of running, and they're going to literally hold the ball until there's 2 seconds on the game clock and hike the ball.
They're going to be like the Browns last year.
And they're going to and we're going to be in every. I think we're literally going to be in every single game.
The thing is, though, to be able to hold the ball, you got to get first downs. That still matters.
I can tell you right now, with a 6'5", 250 quarterback and a explosive Jonathan Taylor, you can get 3 yards around.
You think you guys will do those Jalen Hurts QB sneaks like Steichen did with Hurts last year?
He's already talked about it in his press conferences and stuff. They've asked about it.
I can't wait to see that.
Big Q's going at fullback and pushing.
Oh yeah.
So I got Colts 1, Jags 2, Tennessee Titans 3, and then Houston 4. I see, like you guys are saying, I see Houston showing promise though. I think Houston will not be in the bottom spot next year, but I think this year they will be just because C.J. Stroud will struggle at his first year because he'll be throwing the ball more than Anthony Richardson. I think Anthony Richardson will not throw the ball that much. And I see C.J. Stroud being the 4th guy in this division. And I see Tennessee 3 because of Derrick Henry, Jags, obviously, they're probably the most talented team in here, but I think their offensive line is what hurts them. And I think injuries could probably cause a problem for Trevor Lawrence.
I'm telling you, I can't state it enough. I'm so worried about their offensive line.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was my number one thing. And their defense. Their defense is a big question mark too.
Yeah, because I'm just worried about them. Like I said, being the Bengals of 2 or 3 years ago. Where Joe Burrow or where Trevor Lawrence is just getting murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And Trevor Lawrence is not as filled out as Joe Burrow.
He's skinny.
Right.
Yeah, he's real skinny. Yeah. So I'm telling you, I got the Colts. I think the Colts can win 10 games.
Alrighty.
That is mine. So I got Colts, Jags, Tennessee, and Houston. All good?
That brings us to...
So then what are we doing next episode?
Next episode will be the last AFC team.
Yep, the AFC, what is that, the North?
West.
AFC West, that's right. AFC West, good division.
Broncos, Chiefs,
this AFC,
Raiders,
man. AFC's ridiculous,
Chargers.
dude. AFC's ridiculous.
So many good quarterbacks. All the good quarterbacks seem to be in
Except who? Herbert, Hurts.
Lamar.
No, Lamar's in AFC.
I thought you were just talking about the...
No, who's in the
Herbert's
NFC?
Herbert's in the...
Oh, that's right, so Hurts.
So you got Dak, Daniel Jones. I'm just trying to name.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts.
Fields is in the NFC.
Sam Howell. I'm just looking at the teams. Fields, Goff, Love.
Dan Jones, yeah.
Kirk Cousins, which he had a decent year last year. Ritter. Who's Bryce Young? Who's Saints?
Derek Carr.
Baker, Kyler, Purdy, Geno, and Matt Stafford. So it is definitely a downgrade in that NFC. It is.
Yeah.
Let's just say this: if you're an NFC fan, or if your team's in the NFC, you should be pretty happy.
I think the Cowboys fans, I think they're thrilled right now. Now they're still gonna face Hurts twice a year, which sucks. And the Giants aren't bad, but Cowboys, they might be number. I think they're number 2.
You lost a lot of
NFC.
people. Like Aaron Rodgers is out of the NFC.
Right.
Like you lost a lot of good quarterbacks in the NFC. And
Brady.
Yeah, Brady's
out.
gone. Yeah, because you either lost in retirement or they went to the AFC.
I mean, Kyler Murray's still technically in there, but where's his mind?
Exactly. And his team's terrible.
Shots, explosive.
But,
shots.
But yeah, so next week, AFC West.
And then
Thursday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. So next episode, AFC West, and I think another cool thing to do is maybe predict the 7 AFC spots in the playoffs.
Yeah, we'll do
next
that.
episode.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah. So I guess with that being said, that's gonna bring us to final words, huh?
Yeah.
Final words. So do you guys have anything you got to get off your chest? Final words.
Yeah. I just want to say, hopefully Kentucky gets the job done today. I know they're playing Team Germany, so hopefully Kentucky looks good.
9.
And hey, let's go blue.
Yeah.
Bigfoot, I know you're out there, and I'm coming for you. That's my final words.
Bigfoot's out there.
Interesting.
And then also another cool thing that's happening in a couple weeks from Louisville Wise is the TBT tournament where they bring back all their old players. So it'll be a team with like Peyton Siva, Russ Smith, Shane Bohannon will be on that team. Kyle Keurig. So pretty cool tournament. I'm excited Louisville's in it. But
who's coaching it?
Or
is there even coaches in that?
There is a coach, but I forget who it is. I think it's like a famous high school coach from Louisville.
Oh, okay.
Like from Trinity or
Davenport.
whatever. Yeah.
Bellman coach.
yeah. Davenport. Yeah. Rick Pitino's coaching it.
Oh, wow.
David Paget.
I guarantee you guys come David Paget. Chris Mack.
Right, Chris Mack. Oh, cool. You shouldn't show his face. That wouldn't be a good idea for him. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode, battling through these technical difficulties. But we've had a thrill filming this episode, and we can't wait to see you for our next episode when we talk about, like I said, we're talking about the AFC West. The AFC West and predicting the AFC playoff spots. So we talked sports, we had fun, and
like and subscribe.
Yeah,
we'll see you.
See ya.
Peace.